One's ready. One's ready. Go!
For the regular folks out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just do that.
The regulars.
For the all the peasants that won't pay for memberships. That's what we'll do.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, a bunch of regulars out there. Just doing their regular thing.
Very what do the kids say? That's very mid. Is that a thing? That's very mid of you.
Mid or based or whatever. I don't know. Aaron's not here to really course correct us on what we're supposed to say.
Young people talking. Let's jump into it. Aaron, I have Aaron on my brain. Jared, how much good does it do to complain about stuff?
Oh, no good at all. Unless you're coming up with a solution, like as in you have a solution. Now, if you want to identify something is jacked up, right? So for example, that's kind of what we do sometimes as well, right? We identify something that's gone wrong, or something that's, whether it's an injustice or a bad policy, or the most recent.
We have solutions. Fire people. That's always my solution.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, if we're going to go to the most recent thing, like with the SRB thing, right? That's identifying a problem. We identified a problem. Lots of people identified a problem. There's so many issues with that, though. One is that complaining? Is what we did complaining, or is it highlighting this is a problem?
Yeah. I mean, I think the problem with spending so much time in is that how complicated some of these issues are, and people are like, "Oh, just fix it," and it's like, dude, like the sim staff didn't even know that these folks had made a decision. So like, not understanding that the bureaucratic thrash and how inefficient it is and how unorganized it really is up at like your Pentagon level and all the players up there. And it's like, well, these people are in charge. Well, actually, it's like the money people that are in charge. But it's like, oh, the CSAF's in charge. It's like kind of. He still has bosses, and then if he can't get the money or he or she can't get the money for stuff, like it just gets real complicated. And then knowing people that have worked up on the hill and have seen the process play out from that level all the way down to where you're at the tactical level, right? Like there's a lot of moving pieces, and so it's probably frustrating for people to listen to it, because you want that like 4-year enlistee, single tour, got out, simple solution type person. Like that's easy, right? But that's just not the reality of where things sit most of the time. And it's stupid that we've seen all this stuff. I wish I could just be like a 4-year staff sergeant type that's just like, well, this is an easy fix. And it's like, it should be. We agree that it should be. Now, when we talk about the way things are right now, how many people would have to lose their jobs in order for that to be a simple solution is crazy.
Well, and you take something as simple as moving money around, right? It's not like your bank account, where you have a checking account, you have a savings account, maybe you have a business account where you can Zelle money around, right? If it's within your own internal organization, or maybe some sister organizations or something like that, and it's the same, and I'm sure people have heard this, the color of money, not as in, hey, green's the color of money, but as in there are different colors or different codes of money that legally are allowed to be used for certain things. So I can't, sometimes some of those can cross flow over, and that's fine. That's legal and that kind of stuff. Other types of money, they can only be used for certain things. So it's not as easy as just zelling something into a different bank account, because that's what it's going to do. So, and that's probably the most frustrating part about it, is that is a reality within the construct that we currently have, that we have to work in. And the amount of bureaucratic legal stuff that you've got to do, it's untenable. It really is. Like, in order to fix it, I think the whole thing's got to get like blown up, and figuratively blown up. and start from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, there was a reason why they did the things that they did the first time around, right? It's just that when you keep putting band-aids on things and you're like, this is the way that we do it, eventually you come to a place where like the situation has changed, but the measures that you've put in place to make sure people aren't just spending money willy-nilly on whatever they want down at the bottom, they're no longer, viable for the current climate, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at. And it's funny with the money thing too, is you can have two things can be, like we were saying, two things can be true at once. You can have fallout money where at the end of the year, your squadron or your whatever, they're like, we got to spend all this money, guys. And like you're an airman being like, hey, how come I can't get a bonus?
Yeah.
But like we're trying to spend the rest of our budget, and it doesn't really make sense until like you start dealing with those things. And not saying that it still makes sense after that point, because you would think that you would be able to move that money around and prioritize the people over everything else. But that's not what Congress has said that money was for. So we can't just give it to people. And this year, I don't think we want people looking into our budget. So people are just going to get hosed.
Yeah.
Keep talking about my theory. That's my theory.
Well, and here's for the listeners, here's how the kind of money thing works, right? We operate on a fiscal year, meaning that the 1st of October through the 30th of September. Like it's not a calendar year. It's a year starting that. So it's a fiscal year. Then you typically it's not like a normal W-2 job that you get where on the 1st of October the military gets paid for doesn't get its budget, right? The quickest it usually happens is about mid-October. Usually it's kind of the end of October is when the initial distribution of funds kind of goes out. Maybe end of October is a little late, but like that's how we write our contracts that happen to go over the FY is we make sure the period of performance goes into November so that we're covered so we don't have a gap in service. So you get initial distribution and you get, call it 10% of your budget, right? I don't maybe it's more. Different years, different organizations have different amounts, right?
I mean, that's assuming the government's not going to shut down and we have a continuing resolution and all this other stuff, because we've never. When was the last time the Congress actually passed a real budget?
It's been a long time.
Okay.
It's I don't know the actual, but it's been a long time. So then incrementally through the year, you have distributions of money that you get essentially paid, and you don't know how much that's going to be. You can kind of base it off of what you got last year, but then there are also bills that have to be paid. So there's contracts, there's employees that have to be paid, and I don't mean military members, I mean contractors. There's office supplies, there's training events, there's you got to pay for people like Trent.
You're welcome.
You got to pay for people like me, to be honest. And so there's things that got to get paid. Like, so if you're running a schoolhouse or a syllabus, there are things that have to be paid for. Like if you need adversary air support, like you need to hire jets or, pay for civilian jets, or more than likely we pay for other units to come in. Like we can't just go say, hey, unit XYZ, come play with us, out here at Nellis, and we'll go out on the range. They're like, hey, that's cool, but you need us to come out. So you need to pay for us to come out. So I got to pay for all the crew. I got to pay for their maintainers. I got to pay for their lodging, their hotel, rental car, gas, all that kind of stuff, right? So it costs $50, $70, $100,000 for a 2-week trip for them to come out to train. So those kind of things. And if you're operating on a syllabus, there are certain events, and the money doesn't always line up with that. And then legally by July, I think you have to have spent 90% of your budget. Yeah, at least
Something
have it obligated.
Yeah, you have to have. Yeah,
I think it's 90.
You have to have a plan.
Yeah, maybe it's June, it's 80%, and July it's 90, or it's something like that. And then, so right around the August time frame, right before the month, if you're at a squadron level, your group that is above you is probably going to like start pulling your money that you don't have a plan for. Then 2 weeks after that, the wing that's above the group is going to start pulling money from them. Then after that, the I guess numbered Air Force or the MAGCOM, depending on the
Yep.
structuring of your organization, is going to pull money from the wing. So, like, I mean, it's just, and thing is when you start talking about like a MAGCOM that's 88 million or 88 million to $200 million in the hole because they misbudgeted and overspent. Everybody else is going to be feeling that, and it ain't pretty.
It's not fun.
And then you think about like, and then you take a step back and you go, how could this actually happen? How could somebody overspend? How could somebody budget? I thought we had professionals in there, and we do have professionals in there. The problem is they are not always they are the ones that are checking the books, making the purchases, receiving the money. They're not the ones going, I want you to allocate $50 million to that. I want you to allocate 25K to that. There's other people going like, do this, do that, do that, do that. And they have no concept of how much money's going in, how much money's going out, and then where things should be cut, because people just want to like, well, that's my program. That's my baby that I had. This program's awesome. Let me freaking buy that. You know, I almost dropped an F-bomb. I'm trying not to.
Yeah. You can't have the non-members hear you drop an F-bomb. They get very upset. Yeah, there's a lot of feelings out there. The members are hardened individuals, and they understand who we really are. So, not the non-members. And it's pretty nebulous too, right? Like you were saying, like nobody, you have an idea of what your budget is, and then there's the money's going in all these different directions, and there's always stuff that comes up. It's like, well, we have to spend money on this, but we also have to keep supporting our program. Otherwise, we have to cancel, in AATC, right? Like you have to cancel classes, or you have to do this. Or on the operational side, so then we have to cancel this entire TDY. That is a requirement before we, quote unquote requirement before we send our guys out the door. And we can't do that stuff locally because we don't have the resources here. And it just becomes it's a mess, And then on the AFSOC side, it's a little bit different because you have your SOCOM funds, you have Air Force funds, you have, and that's another thing is you got all these different funding streams coming in from all these different locations, and it's complicated. It's overly complicated, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like, if you take Air Combat Command, right, it has Air Force dollars coming into it. Then everybody would. I don't want to get too in the weeds. We call it $2. Because that's the code for service dollars, right? And then you have MFP 11 dollars, which are like your SOCOM dollars. So,
which everybody thinks is unlimited. They're like, oh, we just got the MFP 11 money, and it's like, yeah, sometimes it's pretty good, but like it's not endless, guys.
It's not unlimited, but when you start talking about a command, a combatant command, or a geographical, I call it, well, it's got a bunch of different, SOCOM, but they're so small, but also receive like a substantial budget. That's why it seems like it's endless. That's why it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. They've always got money. But so that's why the difference between like Air Combat Command that only gets Air Force dollars and Air Force Special Operations Command that gets Air Force and SOCOM dollars. And that's why AFSOC is like, oh yeah, everything just rains in AFSOC. It's glorious.
Yeah, kind of.
They're a lot smaller too. You know?
Well, and that's the thing too, is especially on the Air Force side, like an Air Force Special Tactics unit is not as large as like a Special Forces group and all these other things. And so per person, we tend to end up with a fair amount of money. Now, the PJs play this game really well because they end up with ACC funds, AFSOC funds, and Air Force fund. Like they have all their funding sources all over the place, plus all the National Guard stuff that they do. Which, if you're not tracking, there are more Reserve and National Guard pararescue guys than there are active duty ones. So those guys, as they move around, they pick up money from all over the place, which is why they only wear Arc'teryx. Now you know.
That dead bird gang. That's the only thing that touches skin. So to give the listener example, Air Combat Command has between 70 and 100,000 personnel at any one point. Right?
It's a lot of
I think
folks.
they are, I believe they are the largest major command. AFSOC has between 16 and 20,000 people. Why the money seems endless. Now, the thing about ACC is they are also like, when you think they are sustaining and maintaining not every aircraft that we have in the inventory, because you have Global Strike Command, which also has, your B1s, your B2s, your B52s, your ICBMs and stuff like that. But Air Combat Command has, you know, your HH-60s, your HC-130s, your A-10s, or I'm sorry, HC. I almost crossed the streams and started talking about Air Mobility Command, which has C-17.
Oh no!
Like it's
The comments are gonna get you.
oh
Dude,
man,
you don't even know you're in the Air Force and you don't even know.
you don't even
Man,
know.
it's a
Do you,
lot.
do you guys really want me to start rattling stuff off?
No,
Because
I
there's
don't.
so much up here. That's why I trip over my words, because it's going so fast up here that I can't. I'm not Aaron. I can't articulate it and spit it out coherently.
It's too much. There's too much information.
So I mean, so that's why, like, to your whole point of getting into this, that's why I think you've got to. It's there's a difference between complaining and highlighting a problem.
Oh,
I think sport bitching is just like, hey, it's fun. That's what we do in the team room, and it's a vent session. Like, oh, this bullshit, oh. But if you
well,
can highlight an actual problem and go, hey, this is an issue. I also have a solution, right? Like, maybe if we did this, I like to think that's kind of what we do, but we also sport bitch.
yeah. So with all that money around, then why can't we find body armor and uniforms that perfectly fit all of the piles of females in combat roles now that require different body armor and uniforms, because we have it for the dogs, we have it for the dags. How come we don't have it for the females? You know what I mean?
I know what you're doing, and I don't like it. You were 100% trying to bait me and get me going, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
take. I'm gonna take it. So why don't we have enough money? So I don't know how many military working dogs that we have that are in a combat role that require body armor. Um, I actually can't think of any dogs that I worked with that actually had body armor. They had tactical vests and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and it may have had um, some Kevlar lining, but it never had any plates. And I know they make some with plates, but I never saw any, like, it, because it was always so hot where we were at, and those
Yeah.
dogs was just over. I mean, they were already hot wearing the tactical vest, so maybe that's why. And that totally makes sense to me. I guess at the time I never thought about it, never thought to ask, but
Well, one of their greatest assets is their speed too. Like if you take them off lead and send them into a house, you don't want them being like, man, these plates are pretty heavy. Not that those dogs would, because they're psychotic in the best way possible, but
yeah, I love it when you could going on YouTube and you can see the footage.
all those fur missiles.
It's actually a beautiful thing to see how a dog works a house and maneuvers through a house. It's so fluid and it's beautiful. And then all of a sudden, you can see that they see somebody or see like a kid, and they're like, nope. And then just on to the next. I mean, it's amazing how they are able to discriminate as well.
They're so much better than we are at it.
They don't always get it right, just like we don't. But there have been accidents, if you will. But it's going to happen. But what I don't know is, I don't know how many women are in a direct combat role.
I don't know.
I don't know.
There must be tons. Like, we hear a lot about it, though. There must be tons of females just out there on the front lines, jumping out of planes, getting their combat jump on. I don't know what, uniform harnesses don't fit them very well. Where for us, I know your experience with not you parachute harnesses. Parachute harnesses don't fit them very well, and I know in your experience the parachute harness is probably fits like a glove and is so comfortable, and that you've never had a bad experience with a parachute harness. I'm just guessing here based on the data.
Yeah. Based off the data, nope, never had a bad experience with any kind of harness. Everything that is issued to me or that is designed for me fits perfectly and is extremely comfortable. And there's no way ever that a hard opening or anything like that would ever be uncomfortable, or that just wearing body armor in general is comfortable, you know?
Yeah, no, it fits great.
So what do we
We were referencing a video that Aaron sent out this morning about, some female was complaining about this. She compared women in combat roles to the military working dogs, right? And she said it's insulting that the dogs have fitted things specifically for them, and females don't. And then she cited a reference too that I wanted to talk about. She said something about women in like the infantry course or the infantry leader course. She's like, well, they have to go off base to get their stuff modified so that it fits better. And my question is, so like you've been around Fort Bragg or Fort Campbell, any of those giant forts.
Yeah.
Why do you think that all those shops exist right outside the base for uniform modification? Are you telling me that those uniform modification shops are only there for the females? Well, because no males ever modify their uniforms to fit better, to work better, to do any of these other things?
No,
This kind of blew my mind.
those places exist and they do incredible revenue because the amount of people that come in there, men and women, to get things modified are like it's endless because the way that we buy things is in bulk and we can't possibly, it would be, I mean, look at how terrible we are at money right now. You imagine if we tried to tailor every purchase to individuals. Like it's bad enough going like, hey, I need a 36 short and a 44 short top, and it's like best we can do is a 34 short, and it's like, oh, all right,
All right.
tight.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it off base. Have them just, hey, cut a triangle out and sew a new one in. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guy.
Or things are 34, 36 long, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll go get them tailored like I have to do with everything because I'm an elf.
What? You have to have things tailored? They're not made for Jared
Oh,
Peaches?
I always got to get. I just had to buy a new suit because I'm not gonna. In order to wear the mess dress, I would have to shave the beard, and I'm just not going to do that. So, so I went and got a new suit, and it got close, but I still had to go get it tailored. Like to get everything else fits great. It's just I either have to get the arms tailored, but I always have to get the legs tailored.
That's a good point too. Like when we buy suits, like there's so like I feel like some of these cases, and I'm not trying to attack the females too much, but like when you go to buy a suit, if you are not the index case, right? If you're not the guy that looks like K-Dub that can just walk in and be like, here are my dimensions, they're like, that's funny because we designed this suit specifically for people that look like you because no matter what you put on your body, it looks amazing, right? Like he's built like that. But the vast majority of us that are a little wonky, we got to get stuff tailored up to make it look right. Okay. Like this is the way of the world.
And then you have to do the cost analysis of, okay, so to her point, I can appreciate the frustration with it, right? But at the same time, like body armor is just uncomfortable no matter who you are, right? And I'm sorry you got to get things tailored, but think about what it would cost. Like, what else would you have to give up within the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, whatever, because in order to fund getting tailor-made body armor or tailor-made LBEs or whatever it is, you know what I mean? That money's got to come from someplace. So what are you going to get?
And I mean some of the questions about in the chest area, right, of the body armor not fitting, it's like, hey, the bra industry is very robust and they have a million different options for a reason. Are you telling me that even if they tried, it would work? And then if you fluctuate in weight, like, do you need a new, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I gain a few pounds and I throw my stuff on, it gets a little pinchy. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, hey, Trent, what are you doing, bro? How about you watch your diet?
Yeah.
Or if I lose too much weight and then I put that stuff on and I start running around and it's like flip flopping all over the place. Like, it's just never gonna, look, military equipment is never going to fit you correctly. Like you have to do mass modifications, like the drop holsters. We talk about that all the time. Like when I see folks at the gate with their drop holsters, they haven't modified them at all, and it's a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if security forces guys actually get to keep their holsters or whatever, or if they have to turn them all back in. But I'm
I
like,
don't.
bro, why are you still running 2 straps on your leg, and why are you letting it sit that far down? Like, remove one of those straps, pull it up. Like the amount of time that we spend modifying all of our kit, and especially pre like all the uniforms with the pockets up top. What did
Oh,
every single guy do before deploying? Like
cut 'em.
we ran our uniforms over there, took pockets, and put them out here.
Well, you remember when we had BDUs, you had 4 pockets,
Mm-hmm.
2 up top and 2 at the bottom. So you take the bottom ones, put them on your shoulders, or no, you take the bottom ones, put them on your chest because they were
Yeah, they're
bigger.
big.
So you put them on your chest at a slant, and then so that way that you could reach in from your body armor and you could reach in and have stuff in there like maps or whatever it is, and then you
Yep.
put the smaller ones on your shoulders. Like we modified all theirs. How many times did you take your boots to go get modified?
A few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, guys like the Whipple stuff. There's different terrain environments where you want different tread on your boots, and all that other stuff. So you have to, or you go get them stretched out. Like I got those stupid like calcium deposits on the top of my feet.
Oh, really?
So either you got to stretch out your boots, or you just got to deal with it and rip the skin off the top of your feet until yeah. Like I got a little bony thing that sticks off the top of my foot.
I always I think I got 2 pairs of boots, you know, not custom made, but redesigned or whatever. I got new soles on them with the shark teeth sole, and then with
Mm-hmm.
extra padding. And then
Yeah.
I also had some of the like the toe cuffs removed, so they were more like running shoes kind of thing.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, it was really nice. But I do think it's disgusting that you have 2 male just sitting up here, tearing apart women and
I'm not.
tearing apart.
I'm simply pointing out that all the dudes that you look at that like have uniforms that fit perfectly, and it's a little bit different now, right? Because like when the cry thing came along, and they kind of took all those. The Marines were first. They actually started doing their uniforms the right way for all their combat uniforms, and
Marpat.
then the cry stuff came along, and what did they do? They looked at what all of us were doing with the guys start putting Velcro on up here as well, right? Everybody started Velcroing stuff, so you didn't have to write in. Like I remember, I don't know if you ever did with your magic marker, your permanent marker, put your blood type up on your shoulder and a few other places,
Mm,
because like we didn't have the blood type patches in the beginning,
yeah.
so we were all just writing it on our uniforms and all the other stuff. But the cry folks, they came up with the new pattern, and then they were like, hey, what are all the guys doing already? And this is what we were doing, and then they made the uniform to match. So it makes a lot more sense now. But man, for a long time, everybody's just cutting their stuff up. How many stories do we have of going to the riggers and being like, this
Oh,
doesn't work like this, fix it?
those dudes used to manufacture stuff, and it was incredible. What a great talent they had. Um, I know I got a sling made from one of them. I say a sling, but I mean it was just one of the miniature Pelican hooks with
You have
tubular
the
that with just like tubular nylon like that big, and I girth hitched it around I had one of those mounts on my M4 that just was just the little loop. So I'd girth hitch the end of the tubular on that, and then use the Pelican hook on my body armor and LBE. So it was perfect, right? And it was just long enough where I could do a left shoulder shot.
yeah
But the thing was, it was my favorite sling, and riggers manufactured that. You take anything you wanted to them, and they even built me. I've got 4 bags of sand in there, down in the garage, that are
nice.
all like in this really nice material that doesn't leak. So it's not like a sandbag that we've filled with sand and taped, right? Like, so they don't leak, and each one has like, this is 12.8 pounds, and I just throw it in a ruck and I can modify it. And they just made that on a whim. Like they could just manufacture stuff. It was great, or fabricate stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody does their rucks a little bit different. Like I think the whole Strills thing came from just riggers making things, right? The whole Strills program. And so I think my point is modification is a normal part of combat operations. gross modification. There are very few people that take their uniform, take all the gear that's given them, and they're like, this is perfect. This is amazing. Like everybody's built a little bit different. So like the idea that somehow women are being left out, and I get it, like some women are shorter and all that other stuff, but like I've never met a woman how many women are running around that are under 5'3" or whatever that could actually do the job anyway. Like it's just
Not many.
and the ROI, like you said, how many of these things would we have to make, and how expensive would it be to give you what you deem acceptable for your kit and all that other stuff? So you might have to go out of pocket to go buy stuff. And here's another big announcement: a lot of dudes go out of pocket for a lot of things.
Yeah, there's dudes that will buy their own body armor. I bought my own LBE one time, because I couldn't, like, whatever they were issuing, it just, because of my small body type, right? It wasn't like, it would just hang no matter, when I'd adjust the
Pull it
strap,
as tight as it could. Yeah.
like it would just hang, and I was like, okay, well, this isn't working. So I had to go buy my own chest rig, because that's what worked for me and what fit for me. The supply wasn't going to go out and buy that just for me. Like squadrons, even small squadrons, won't go buy one thing for one dude. Like typically, sometimes there's an exception to that, but it's very, very rare. That person has to be going for something in particular,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I bought my own chest rig before. There's plenty of guys that go out there and buy their own rigs and armor, and then they put the issued plates into their own body armor and stuff like that.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah. When you trade with your joint force guys, like everybody plays the game, right? Like, well, I have this thing, I've never worn it because it doesn't work for me. Like, do you want it? They're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. And it's like you do the swap game, but like, yeah, it's a normal part of life for all ground pounders, for all airborne guys, for all of these people. So like to think that you're supposed to be issued something that works right out of the gate is kind of asinine to me. And
I mean, we do the same thing with weapons.
Yeah.
Right now, it's maybe less common because you have the SOP mod kits and that kind of stuff, and usually there's enough things in the armory that you can go like, okay, cool. But sometimes there's a forward grip that you're like a new thing that's out there that you're like, ooh, this forward grip, like really like that, or maybe that fits better for me, and they don't have it, so you order one yourself.
Yep.
Like,
I've done that.
Same with a collapsible stock or something like that. You go find one that you like. I mean, if you don't like what we have in stock, which is usually a whole bunch of different options, but people still modify it.
But even remember when the Oakley gloves were the heat, like when you watch Call of Duty games and guys are all wearing the mechanics gloves, do you think that all the units were buying everybody mechanics gloves? It's like, no, like we were buying all the Oakley gloves because that was cool or whatever. And some guys liked them, but lots of guys still liked the mechanics gloves or whatever else. Like there's a million different options, but like, yeah, people buy their own stuff all the time. They modify it to fit their bodies. Like the way I set up my recce LB is not the same way that Peaches is going to set up his, and it's going to fit different, and it's probably from a different company. So yeah, that's just my thing. Is like, if you want to do one of these jobs, I don't care if you're a male, female, or mentally ill. You're going to have to make modifications to make it work for the vast majority of people. Like, don't attack the index case Captain America looking guy where everything fits perfectly right out of the gate and be like, well, they made it just for him. They're like, no, it just so happens that he happened to be the guy that, like, no matter what they issue him, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
He's like exactly 6 feet tall, perfect proportions. His legs aren't too long. His torso's not too long, like, and it just, that's like 6 people that I've ever met,
Yeah. It's yeah, I had another customization example, but I don't remember it now. Like it's fleeting, like many things.
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair on that thing, there were some comments from other females that were like, "This is not the way to make things better." They're like, and one of the females was like, "Dude, yeah, guys, that nothing fits. This is the military. Everything sucks. Just everybody learns how to not complain about it and fix it if they need to, or they just put up with it. Like, welcome to military."
Or bitch about it, and then just hey, that's what they do.
Oh, we all bitch about it, dude. The harness thing was hilarious. personally, I was surprised after jumping and having a few incidents and then being around the jammers and the chemicals and the burn pits. I was kind of surprised the first time my wife got pregnant. I was like, okay, all right, this is good. At least it wasn't that bad.
Still got it, I guess.
Yeah. We were talking about JMPIs and parents the other day, and it's just like, no, it's a real thing that like if your harness is a little loose and it doesn't fit right, and Lefty slides up underneath that thing and you have a hard opening,
Oh man. And then you're
you
sitting on it the whole, like, unless you can like
oh,
adjust yourself for the harness, and like then you're sitting
yeah.
on it.
Yeah. And especially like with a static line too, like if you come out pretty low and you're falling quick, you don't have time to adjust that thing. So you're just riding that pain into the ground. And you got stuff to do as soon as you hit the ground. You don't have time to puke, like just get it off, take a knee, take a leak, and then move forward. Make sure
Yeah.
you're not bleeding.
After you get done, after you land through that hard landing, and you're like, okay. You're
I'm
just
okay.
like a self-assessment, check it everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Arms work, legs work. Okay. I'm gonna get up now. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Blech, blech. All right. Pack it away. Pack it away.
What is that behind you? Is that the pictures? Do you have pictures behind you?
Oh, right. That one?
Yeah. What is that? I thought for a second there, let me tell you what I thought it was. And it made no sense, which is why it just popped into my head real quick. It looked like orthodontic pictures taken braces from here.
No,
Like,
that's my daughter and I.
oh, okay, because it's really blurry right now. That's
Yeah.
while we're recording anyway. I'm sure the recording itself won't be blurry, but
And it's in my whiskey cup that has like all the SW AFSCs on it, and at the bottom has like the special warfare thing.
nice. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was some ortho pictures.
Yeah, I check out people's teeth x-rays just for fun.
I
It's a
knew
hobby.
that it wasn't that, but it was like, what is that?
Speaking of being able to identify bodies afterwards, I was thinking the other day, in all those old movies where like the good guy finally catches the bad guy. The bad guy has done terrible things, but either he's about to like land like the final blow, like the guy's defeated, he's like on the ground and he's about to, or he has his gun to his head, and he has the good guy has a buddy that's like, dude, don't do it. It's not worth it. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, I don't think I have that friend. I think I have the friend that's just like, if he's in the zone, like he's just like, okay, if he blows his head off, what are the next logistical steps that we need to take to get back to normal life at some point after this, right? I don't have the buddy that's like, he's not worth it. My buddies are like, yeah. If we've gone this far, it needs to happen.
Let's take it all the way. You go ahead and blow his brains out. I'll start getting a vehicle and we'll figure out where we got to go.
Yeah, right. Like he's like, okay, we gotta like figure out cell phone things. We gotta do all this other stuff. Like, which vehicles can be tracked and which can't. How far do we have to drag this dude?
Yep.
What time are the gators feeding? All the things.
Yeah, it's funny because as a dude, I totally go through those scenarios, like all the time. Like, it might be a little bit psychotic, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, go through those things. Like, if I mean, I really do go through those scenarios in terms of like, okay, well, if I'm out here at Walmart or wherever I happen to be, and somebody starts going ham on somebody, whether it's a fight or whether it's a child abduction or if it's a shooter, robbery, I play through those scenarios all the time, and I don't know whether it's good, bad, but I think it's good in the way that I'm prepared. I know that some docs out there would say like, hey, that's not right. That's probably a symptom or a result of, 25 years of doing the job. But at the same time, like, is it a bad thing then if something happens and then I am or
You're ready?
is the person that is ready and is willing to jump in the car? Like, I mean, I got in a car wreck the a couple of days ago, and the guy that hit me, his car caught fire. you
Oh,
know,
geez.
and he's got kids in there, and he's grabbing one of his kids, I'm grabbing the other, to get them out, and he's the one that hit me, like,
Yeah, we'll argue about this later, but let's
yeah,
get
yeah,
the kids out of the car.
like the kids are the priority,
Yeah.
and the funny part about it is my wife and my son are up on the side of the road, because they exited and got out there, and then my son, he told me afterwards, but he goes, man, because it felt weird seeing you like go into a car that's on fire and grabbing somebody else's kids. He goes, and all I could think about was like YouTube videos or stuff like that where cars just go, or
Oh, yeah.
movies and stuff like that. I was like, nah, dude, we weren't even close to that. But he was like, he goes, I was kind of pissed at you first. He
Yeah.
goes, I can't believe he's doing that. I was like,
You're like,
well, I was like, what if I didn't do that? What would you think of me then if I didn't do that? And
yeah, do
somebody,
you want a sissy dad? Is that what
yeah,
you want?
yeah. And he,
A dad with no principles and no capability?
yeah. And he was like, oh man, I didn't think of it like that. I'm like, exactly. I was like, it's better that I go into that and get hurt or something like that than just to go like, man, I ain't risking my life for that.
Yeah, if they die, they die. They're
Yeah.
kids. It was probably, is their dad's fault that they got in the wreck to the begin with. Whatever.
Yeah. It was his fault.
It was. I saw the video.
It was his
The,
fault.
the
Tailgate.
hypervigilance thing. Yeah, what a dick.
Yeah.
That bothers me. Not bothers me, but like I think there's a thing where there's some of the psych docs are like, hey man, they want to like label things. Some of the not great psych docs will be like, well, that's not, you shouldn't be hyper vigilant. And my new thing that I've been working out in my head and I've talked about a little bit here is on the other side of these jobs, you are going to be different. And we need to stop acting like being different is a bad thing. Now, if it's keeping you up all night and you're not sleeping and all these other things, like there are some things that you need to get to a healthy place. But man, stepping out of your car, looking around, assessing the situation, especially if you're at a Walmart and you're in the country, you need to be ready. Just throwing it out there. Target, you could probably take like 10 out of 10 dudes in that Target at any time.
Oh, yeah.
Just yeah. But like the vigilance, the being aware of your surroundings, the having the pump primed to a certain level at all times, I don't think is a negative thing. It's not bad. And I think like you're gonna be different coming out the other side, and I just want to keep telling people it's okay to be different coming out the other side, because I've seen guys go through this a few different times. They're looking around like, am I different? Yes, you are, and it's okay. Like 90% of that stuff is okay, as long as you're not staying up all night, sitting by your window with your shotgun for no good reason. When you're like in a safe neighborhood, then yes, you're fine, and it's good. That's a good thing. The world needs more of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so stop acting like being a different person on the other side of these jobs is a negative. It's not.
No, I agree. Speaking of negatives, I'm gonna share my screen real quick, and
Oh boy.
because I want to get an opinion on a new merch thing that we are considering.
Oh, strap in, everybody.
And before you hop onto it, like, this is not meant to be offensive or anything like that. This is actually because we were talking about it yesterday. And we were like, dude, that'd be pretty cool. As we were talking about it, it is kind of blasphemy. It is, or it might be, it might not be. Like, I'm just, full disclosure, I'm not very religious, folks. So, yeah, I appreciate it. I agree.
I was gonna become a member until this moment, Jared. What?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not against religion or anything like that. Like, I am personally just not extremely religious. So if this is offensive, it is not meant to be. All right. We thought that it would be kind of cool to put a shirt with your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ,
JC.
in a JC, in a ghillie suit with a sniper rifle, with a halo. That way, I don't even know if you need the halo because I think you know who he is.
I like the halo. It kind of brings it together. It's like the old school stuff,
Right. So if you're listening out there, it is a black and white Jesus with him looking off to the side. He's wearing a
That's
ghillie suit.
that's
Looks
more
like
like a
he's on.
DMR. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It, and I think it's pretty cool. But should we should we make this or not? That's kind of what I'm asking the folks.
I know
Should we
there's the
make
whole
it?
blasphemy thing, but like if anybody's got your 6 over there, if anybody's got Overwatch, you know, like JC's got Overwatch, she's watching your back. And yeah, I don't want to turn this into like a spiritual, hey, I had a spiritual experience when I was overseas and I thought I was going to die. But like I did, you know? So that there are times when you're like, this is like I am millimeters away from this going completely south, and either I'm going to get shot in the head or I'm going to end up in a video getting beheaded. And in those moments, do you know who I don't cry out to? I don't cry out to the gods of the Vikings. You know,
Allah, you don't.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know who the Spartans worshipped, but I didn't think about the Spartans either. It's weird. I didn't think about any of those things. You know, I thought of JC and the people that are putting in the good karma credits with him on my behalf every day. So that you could say it's blasphemy, right? But if there is a place where JC does work more than anywhere else, and you want to come at me and say that is not the battlefield, then I will be happy to argue with you on that point.
Yeah, he clocks in and never clocks out, kind of thing.
Always there. Unlike the AC-130s that leave when the sun comes up, and then I feel very vulnerable after that.
Like, I still have targets to hit. Why are you leaving? I know it's.
Guys, don't leave.
Yeah. You want to talk about a blanket of safety when you start thinking about it, or the AC-130 homies. Like, it's sure you get the same similar feeling when you have A-10s, F-15s, F-16s, F-18s. Like, I don't want to leave anybody out, right? But it's a different thing when I can't tell you how many times I stayed up for 4 hours at a time at night while everybody else is sleeping, because guess what? We still have fire watch, right? You're secure throughout the day, or throughout the night while everybody's sleeping, if we're not operating at night. But guess who's up? Because we've got AC-130 overhead. It's me, right? And
Weird.
everybody else is like, well, dude, if you're up, why would I be up? And I agree. Like, dude, get sleep while you can. Like, I've got this. I've got security and I've got eyes in the sky. Like, get sleep.
Dude, there's nothing worse than the JTAC grabbing me though and being like, "Bro, help me plot these targets." And I'm like, "Come on, can I just go to sleep with the rest of the guys? Can I just?" He's like, "Shut up, weather nerd. Get over here. I just need you to help me write these out for the make this target list." I'm like, "Ah."
But any dude that has been out, on a patrol and stayed the night, and they hear that hum of the props on the C-130 just out in the distance, and it just, if you're an ODA dude, SEAL dude, Ranger, whatever, like whoever you happen to be, if you've been in that, comment, because I know that I am not alone. When you hear that humming of the AC-130 just overhead, you're like, oh man, I can just get in my sleeping bag and just be all nice. I don't have to worry about shit.
We got all our strobes put out. We got IR set out. They see us. It's like, oh, good. Okay, like I had that story for my first deployment. We were in a fight all day, and like we were in a vulnerable positions. We were, we'd separated the teams, and we ended up in a kind of a bad spot. And the sun was going down, and we can hear what the bad guys are saying, right? We're on their comms. We hear what they're saying. And then the AC-130 checks on. It got dark enough for them to check on. They heard it check on, and then it goes silent. Their comms go silent. Like they're done for the night. They're like, nope, never mind. I'm out of here. Yeah, I think they threw a few 105s out there. And then after that, it got real quiet on the comms. And we got real comfortable. It was really nice.
Yeah, it's when they're overhead, it's a good feeling, and especially like because they have so many sensors, they have so many people up there, they've got a long loiter time that they're able to just hang out and do work for us. And it was just always a good feeling having them overhead.
Well, it's not like I mean, A-10s are not that fast, but it's not like the fast movers where they're here and they're gone and they have to like have altitude to see everything. They're not looking through a soda straw, right? Like they see and they're just right above you. You know, they see everything. They're going to see things before we see them. It's a different feeling, and I can't ever love the AC 130 folks more than I do.
No, and what a fantastic asset that AFSOC has and has decided to continue on. Like, right? I know that there's big feels around, you know, the 105 and 30 mic and that kind of stuff. Like, I got it, man. But the thing is that now, and I want to be careful because I don't know what's exactly classified it up, but the 105 is somewhat legacy now, like the capability of it. Now, it is super cheap when you start talking about the rounds, right? Versus some small diameter bombs or something like that. Like the cost analysis, for sure, a 105 is more cost efficient than an SDB. But at the same time, like if you're looking at capability, I don't know. But like as a dude that's Winchestered 3 AC 130s that had 105s on it, like there's a lot of 105 shells that they can put on there, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Some of the other capes are cool. But like I remember being with the Siege of SOAC in like 15, and you know we were moving through, and just they were talking about running out of certain munitions and other things that they couldn't get their hands on. And it's like, man, but can we get 105s? Can we get those?
Got plenty of those going around. So I know. I do wish we'd keep the 105 on there because I think it is cost effective and it sends a message. But at the same time, I can also see why they'd go like, hey, let's divest from this and then reallocate the money to getting more munitions and more capability in a different, same capability, but in a different modality, a different form.
Yeah, and it's probably increased capability, you know, at the end of it in a certain ways, right? But as long as they're going to keep the 30 mic though, right?
Yep.
Because that's also awesome when that thing starts going off.
And the capability of that thing, like when you start talking about when you can do, you can do bursts, you can do a single shot. Like, I mean, that's just a single shot. That's pretty freaking cool. Like, So anyway,
love those guys. It's great.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. We didn't do an ad read at the beginning, but if you head over to onesready.com, use a promo code. There is no promo code. Good God. Onesready.com.
Buy some stuff from Attack Lead. Sorry.
Yeah. Onesready.com. Top right-hand side, hit prep, partner discount, scroll down till you see Attack Elite. Click on any of those links, and it'll take you to their site, and a pop-up will show up and go, hey, we sent you a promo code, and it's a generic promo code that gets generated right there on the spot, and use that to get yourself a discount. All right, we're out here. Later.
There you go. Later, y'all.